On the lines, I have a contributor to several publications here in the ultra sports world, a men's health triathlete, Lava Magazine. He has his own blog, which I'll give him all the time he needs to explain. He's a graduate from the Air Force Academy, just north of Colorado Springs, and he's the author of The Race Within by TriumphBooks.com. You can access the book on TriumphBooks.com. Mr. Jim Gourley, how are you? And thank you very much for your time here.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
The Ultraman Distance. It's a 3-day event. What I read about, I sort of skimmed through a section there. These people don't pay or aren't paid any money to do this event, and it's almost 3 times the volume of the Ironman triathlon, which standard to those of you listening is 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a full marathon, 26.2 miles. It takes 3 days to complete. What is that experience like while you were covering that and writing the book?
Well, it's a fascinating event to watch unfold. Sports is essentially human drama. It's the original reality show, right? Ever since we were putting gladiators and chariots in the Colosseums, and it's certainly the same type of thing that you see going on out there over the course of this 3-day event. More like a survival story, though. The athletes push themselves to the utmost limit, trying to get around this course. And it's interesting because not everybody that goes in this race is extremely competitive. There are just phenomenal athletes that will run that final double marathon in 6 hours and 30 minutes, which is a pace faster than a lot of people can run a single marathon. And then there are people that wind up walking a substantial part of the distance on that last day. But the competition for them is really internal, not trying to win outright, but to overcome challenges within themselves. And so you go out there and you see these people doing this, and every athlete is just an extraordinary human story.
Jim Gourley is live with us in the Thomas Loop. He's the author of The Race Within. Your blog, can you tell us more about it? You do a lot of installments for your blog there.
Yeah, I've since the book has come out, there was so much material and so many things I discovered about ultra distance racing, about Ultraman itself, and about the island of Hawaii that it couldn't all go in the book. So I wanted to share more with people, and so it's sort of the extra content that was cut out, and I've been enjoying writing about it because, again, everywhere you look in this race, there's just something compelling around every corner.
What got you into multi-sport athletics? I mean, I notice you do several other things for several other types of topics. What centered you in on the triathlon and the multi-sport events?
It was where I got my initial break as a journalist. I was covering technology developments in sports equipment for the magazines. I was enjoying that. And I think at every turn in my career as a writer thus far, anytime I've gone on to something new, it's because I've been a little bit bored with what I'm doing. I think we all get that. The nice thing about being a writer is that you can try and write about new things all the time. So I'd started in equipment. I'd gone to athlete interviews, talked to a few of the Ironman world champions. But I noticed that nobody was really talking about Ultraman or the ultra distance. And I said, this looks like unexplored territory. So I'd like to get into it. And, just the more I looked at it, the more fascinated I became, the more material I gathered, and I thought this would make a really good story. So that's what brought me to write the book about it.
Former mayor of Niagara Falls, currently for WJJL. He hosts the Vince Anello radio show. Vince, do you have any questions for Jim?
No, I think the one thing that I can point out as far as Colorado and Colorado Springs, I spent a week there. My daughter was over at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. You know, she was a swimmer, and it certainly is a beautiful area. And I'm sure your guest is very knowledgeable about, you know, Colorado Springs and the Olympic Training Center. It's, you know, it makes you proud to be an American when you see those young people really hard they work, and, you know, in their own specialty. Because over there was swimming and cross country, you know, biking, and it was just unbelievable seeing these young people just, you know, doing what they do. It's just amazing.
Jim Gourley is... Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, he brings up a good point. And, you know, people talk about how the Ultraman athletes go out there and do what they do for no prize money. But I think we forget quite often that the number of athletes out there who are making the mega bucks on endorsement deals and player contracts is really a minuscule fraction of the overall athlete population in this country. And it's something that, you know, doesn't get enough attention, that our Olympians are often living paycheck to paycheck, working second and third jobs to finance their training. So when we see them take the field out in international competition, I mean, it's not just a feat of physical strength and endurance, but I mean, really of will, because throughout their lives they've been doing the hard work to make that happen, and for very little benefit. So they come a long way, and I think it's great how they embody those principles of perseverance and determination. But anytime we can give support to our Olympic athletes, they certainly deserve it. They're putting in the hard work to represent our country.
Jim Gourley is live with us here in the Thomas Loop Radio Show for WJJL 1440 AM, Niagara Falls, Buffalo, New York. This interview will be edited and posted on YouTube as well as Blog Talk Radio. The following day, YouTube will be out this same day, and I'll be sure to get it to you, Jim. Any more? You've helped had a contributor, a world champion, who was part of the book. Can you tell us more about her?
Hillary Biscay, a professional Ironman athlete, holds a record among Ironman athletes. She has finished more iron distance races than any other professional athlete, male or female. And at the Ultraman in 2013, she scored another personal victory. She was the first athlete out of the water, male or female, after the 6.2-mile swim. And so just an extraordinary physical feat there. And I think it demonstrates that, you know, we talk about gender in sports and inequality of men and women these days. And we wrangle over these things, but I think what the athletes at Ultraman really get is that that's all really sidebar stuff. All the athletes there are really racing against themselves. I mean, that distance is so extreme that there's never any guarantee that any of the athletes, even former world champions who have won that race, will finish, because it is such an extraordinary physical test on the body. And so in a lot of ways, they feel like they're all out there together. The spirit of that event really helps to cleanse, I think, the athletes of all those things those negative feelings we bring into sports. You know, boys and girls playing on the same team, or you know, whether winning is really important or not. Ultraman does unique things in the realm of sports and sportsmanship, and I think that was what I discovered in writing the book, and what I hope people take away is what it gives us and what sports are all about.
Jim Gourley is live with us here at the Thomas Loop Radio Show for WJJL 1440 AM, Niagara Falls, Buffalo, New York. Do you have any engagements, events where you're going to push the book?
Actually, my book tour was a couple weeks ago. So I was out through Arizona and the West Coast. Let's see. There are some signed copies at Moment Cycle Sport in San Diego, California, and also at Destination Kona. Both Hillary and I were there and got to speak.
Jim Gourley, thank you very much for your time. Are you currently in the West Coast right now?
Currently in El Paso, Texas.
Oh, you're in so you're in Central Time. I appreciate it, too. I mean, it's a little earlier than what we're doing here. His name is Jim Gourley. His book, The Race Within, it's basically an overview of a fascinating event, the Ultraman Triathlon. I, too, was a former endurance athlete, primarily a distance runner, and I've had the opportunity, Jim, to compete at a national level a few times, and I can fully understand the marathon. I cannot swim. That is my weakest link. I could just swim to stay above water, and that is not a joke. Cycling maybe got a good shot at it, but the running would have been my strength. That's why I would never do a triathlon, and I'll be 40 years old in July. Jim, all the best to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You got it. Take care. Jim Gourley.